Yo, what's up? My name is Noah Halls from Elements, and in collaboration with Telezine, Democracy NZ, and the Kennedy Heights Arts Center, we're bringing you this podcast that I will title 2020 Election. Did we take an L or a dub? I have with me 4 individuals, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
My name's Nana Purushothaman. I'm a junior, and I'm part of the Telescene editorial board.
Gang, gang.
My name's Rashad. I attend SCPA, and I'm part of Democracy NZ.
Never told a lie.
My name is Jean Pateman. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm a part of the Democracy in Me internship program.
My name Tufo. I graduated in 2019.
Where you graduate from?
Hughes.
Oh, Hughes?
Yeah.
Your name Yusuf. Why are you lying to these people?
Man, it's Tufo, man.
All right, well, before we start bad-mouthing Trump, talking about the actual election, anyone vote this year? What was the voting experience like? I know you voted, Tufo, not Yusuf. What was the voting experience like?
Man, it was difficult. I ain't gonna cap.
How was it difficult? Did you you did the absentee ballot, didn't you?
Yeah.
You weren't trying to risk going to the polls?
No.
He was like, look, man, they probably got corona at the polls. They probably fighting.
Hey, it's be Trump supporters outside ready to.
Fact. And you dark too, man.
Hey.
That's just more anger for them.
You ain't gotta state the obvious. Dress down.
Nah, though, but when you did the absentee ballot, you said it was difficult, but how was it difficult? Like,
Cause
I
had to do my research.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do my research.
Like all the people you were voting for, you trying to see what they were trying to.
Yeah, what they stand for.
Yeah. Well, who'd you vote for? No, I'm playing. You don't have to tell us. But we know,
man.
You know what I mean?
Come on, man.
We know.
You either take an L or a bigger L. You know what I'm saying?
Is anyone else old enough to vote? Hey, what else? That's funny. An L or a bigger L? I feel you. So you got help voting from Chanel, though, right? Yeah, Chanel is a employee. Well, I won't even say employee. She's staff here at Elements. How did this election make y'all feel?
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
This election was something I had been waiting for a long time, because when Obama was president, I was really young. So the first time he was elected, I was 4 years old. Second time he was elected, I was 8. By the end of his term, I was only 12.
Mm-hmm.
So in that time in my life, I didn't really pay attention to the election. I knew we had our first black president, and that's where my knowledge stopped.
Yeah.
But at that age, that's why I started to learn more about America and how it worked and elections and all that. And then I heard a lot of the media and what was said by Trump, and I was like, oh, I don't think this is gonna go well. And I just remember that year. I think the year Trump was elected, I was in 6th grade. So I just remember that whole year, everyone was dreading it, we knew it was gonna happen, but something, yeah. But I could understand why his supporters would support him. He stands for everything that they believe, or a lot of people have believed since the start of America.
Mm-hmm.
And he says what's on his mind. He has no filter to what he says.
Facts.
And they needed, and people fed off of that person that was at a higher power who could say those things and get away with it. So that was my biggest issue with him being in office. I'm he's giving these people all this power to say these things that are hurtful to other people just because we have this man in office who's supposed to be a leader for all of America and is putting down most of the people who live in America. It's really bad.
Okay. That was valid. You about to get a round of applause. I'm going to give you a round of applause. Let me find it. Who gets the applause? You're going to be the only one that don't get applause. How did this election make you feel, though, since you started talking?
I remember when Trump first got elected, we was like, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Did it happen?
Surprise.
Our teacher was like, your vote matter. We were like, man, it ain't gonna happen though, cause you feel me? We're gonna vote for him, and he ended up winning. I was like, dang. Then Chanel was telling me, and I was like, yeah, one vote could help. Well, so I just said, we're not gonna let them do two terms.
Yeah. Because we weren't old enough to vote last time, though.
No.
So, well, we technically, since we weren't of age, our votes didn't matter. No, I'm playing. Did you feel like he was gonna lose this time?
Man, I feel like it was a possible chance he was gonna get up there.
Oh, you thought he was gonna win, or there was a possibility of
I
it?
said it was a possibility.
Dang. Yeah, because his supporters do go hard for him.
I
Like, that's
thought he was
crazy.
gonna win because a lot of people was like, "I'm just not voting." I was like, "No, that's not how
That's
this
not how it
works
works.
here. You gotta choose the least worst one."
Mm.
And I mean, I'm not a Biden supporter. I just know he a better option than Trump. But that's my view. I can't vote. I wish I could, but I try to do my part in trying to encourage people.
Man, look, this is what you do. You just go on straight ahead. You forge all of your credentials.
I don't think that's gonna. No.
Nah, look though. You forge your birth certificate.
Well,
I'm a good artist. I probably could have did that for you. I know some better artists.
I would.
You
But I'm pretty
forge.
sure that's like, I don't know, like illegal.
You can go to jail for that.
Let me tell
Yeah.
you something. Is it illegal? I mean, Donald Trump was president,
Well, see,
and some of the things that he was saying should be illegal,
yeah.
and he was out here still. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'll quit. All right, what about Hey?
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning in 2016, I really didn't expect Trump to win. It's like I'd seen racist people, I'd seen sexist people, I'd seen all like the horrible people, and I really thought that there was less of them. But Trump was kind of the vessel for all the hate that like exists in America and like the systematic oppression that continues to exist in America. And so I think we shouldn't have been surprised by Trump winning in 2016. And I think so many people expected this election to not be as close as it was because they thought, oh, after all the horrible things Trump has done, there's no way people are going to vote for him. But what a lot of people, especially like middle class white liberals, don't realize is that all the horrible things Trump has says, a lot of his supporters agree with. Like when Trump's being racist, that's not shock to people. That's what they voted for. That's what they wanted. When Trump's saying slurs and sexist things and derogatory things, people aren't upset by it. People are enthused by it and encourages them. And so I was coming into this election really dreadful that what happened in 2016 was going to repeat. And I think it almost did. But I think a lot of work against voter suppression in states like Georgia, and I feel like Trump really hurt himself with what he said about the military and John McCain and in Arizona. So I think kind of the only reason Trump didn't win this election is not because there was enough people who voted that said, I don't like Donald Trump, but that Trump did enough things to outcast some of the people who do support some of his things, like the racist people in Arizona who like John McCain more than they like Donald Trump. And then Joe Biden wins Arizona. So I think this election has made me more depressed for the future of America because I can't imagine Joe Biden really enacting any actual progressive change that'll dismantle the systemic oppression that so many people face in this country. But I'm hoping that he'll do something because I feel like Joe Biden's changed from his like 1990s crime bill and 2008 homophobic comments. So I guess I'm a little bit hopeful because of this election.
I totally forgot about Joe Biden.
How do you know he did that?
Yeah, I mean, he was a segregationist in the 50s.
I feel like Trump just overshadowed all of that. For me, at least. I mean, I forgot about those things. Man.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, oh, you ain't even know? Hey, man, look. It'd be like, we weren't on Facebook and stuff like that back then.
No.
It was Facebook. Yeah, Facebook was around. Never mind. We know that. What about you, man?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one thing Trump did is that I don't think he created any of the systemic problems we're seeing today. I think he just exposed it. You know, I think that, you know, there are people all over this country who have believed the stuff he's been saying for their entire lives. They just haven't come out and said it because we haven't had a leader or any prominent figure really who's validated that or like supported that in any degree. So yeah, I completely agree with that. And like, I don't know, and going back to the original question, I think it was like how this election made me feel. I've been feeling a lot of mixed emotions about this election because on one hand, I feel hopeful because so many people voted, like, period. Like, no matter who they voted for, I think, it's like millions and millions of people took the initiative, got absentee ballots, mailed in or dropped off those absentee ballots. So many people went to the polls and voted. So I think that's hopeful for me. I think the more democratic participation, the better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was really surprised by how many people actually voted for Trump.
Mhm.
Like, I think 70 million people like voted for him. And to
Ooh.
me that's a little crazy because like he didn't win the popular vote, but it wasn't as far off as I thought it would be. Like the fact that a lot of people would still vote for him after everything he said, everything he's done, it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me. I really did think it would be a bigger margin,
Yeah.
but I didn't say it because I didn't want to jinx it or anything.
Oh, I
So,
feel it.
yeah, I didn't want to,
That's
but
legit.
yeah, anyway, kind of mixed emotions about this one, but
Hmm.
I think hopefully we'll start heading in a better direction. I don't know. What's really hopeful to me is that we have our first woman
Yeah, female vice
president.
president.
who's
Man, you-
black, who's Asian, South Asian. It's just,
Caribbean.
I think for me that's like the highlight of this, right? So
I was just about to. That was gonna be my next question, and you stole it. You want to trade spots? You can host the podcast, and I can sit right there. No, I'm playing. I was actually gonna ask you guys how happy you were about our vice president. Ooh, but you already expressed your appreciation.
oh yeah, totally.
I was really happy about it. I think what really put it into perspective was I was on Instagram and somebody put all the vice presidents since George Washington's vice president to now, and it's literally all just white men.
Mhm.
And I think we probably had one Indian vice president at one point in time, but I just saw that it was, first of all, it was not only just a female. She's also an African American and what was it?
South Asian.
Vice president, and that's looking at that. I feel like that is a step forward, and that is a change. That's a
Definitely.
change that we need to see. That representation we needed to all see,
Mhm.
and the fact that people like you were saying about the votes, the fact that people voted for Biden, that gives me hope because I'm like, okay, they want to see a change. Some people in this world want to see a change. And I think that's what gave me like the most hope, knowing that there's somebody that will possibly have my back now. Like,
Mhm.
I feel safer than I did with Trump, most definitely, hands down. But it's still some things I feel that Biden and needs to work on due to like his past. But people can change. I'm a strong believer
Definitely.
people can change because I know 2008 that was a completely different time and how things were said and things that were just okay at that time that shouldn't have been, but they were more accepted.
Mhm.
We let him get away with those things, but now in 2020, I see a lot of people have kind of evolved and had a different look on things, and they know what they did was wrong at that time, and they make an effort to change. That's what I really want to see is like them make an effort to change.
Okay. Applause for you. I'm just playing. You thought everyone's gonna get applause at the end though. Anyone over here with a?
I am really, really excited for Kamala Harris. Well, I'm excited that a black South Asian woman was elected vice president, especially after the 2016 election essentially told a lot of women and little girls that even if you are the smartest person, the most qualified person, the overall best person in the room for the job, you still might not get it just because you're a woman. That's pretty much what happened to Hillary Clinton. And, but I'm also really hopeful that both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be more progressive than their past kind of has showed them to be, because Kamala Harris has definitely been progressive in the Senate, but she has a very problematic history as a prosecutor and attorney general, and I'm very scared to see how that and Joe Biden's law and order thing is going to play out in this time when we're calling out police brutality, the prison industrial system, and the school to prison pipeline, when all these things that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have both actively supported in the past are what progressive people in this country want to see a change about.
Okay. You get applause. I'm kidding. I won't do you like that. You'll all get applause. I promise. Go ahead, though. Not Yusuf.
Yeah, I was happy. I ain't gonna cap. I was happy, but
Did you dance? Did you do a dance move or something? A little
Nah.
cartwheel?
nah, I don't dance. But
Did you
nah,
high five the homies?
I seen it was another a woman president in Somalia. You know that, right?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Right. Well, I mean, so I was like, okay, because I knew that they weren't trying to let Hillary become president. Because you feel me? It's just like a step in the right direction. Maybe we're gonna get the next president as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
black woman.
Hey, we good. We good. Hold on. Wait a minute. Man, look what you're doing. You started talking and the table couldn't take it. It couldn't take it. What were you saying? You said a step in the right direction of maybe having a president that's a woman. This is the funny thing about that. It's kind of funny to me, but that would be amazing. But it's kind of funny because then the husband, if it's a husband, would be like the first husband. That just sounds funny to me. That's all.
The first husband,
That sounds hilarious.
he gonna be a stay-at-home dad.
I think for governors, it's like the first gentleman or something like that.
What?
But that sounds really weird.
Yeah, they should be first husband. They both sound funny, but first husband sounds funnier. Or nah, cause it's first lady. Dang.
Yeah, should
So would it be first
man?
lord?
First.
Cause that's what they called it. Like back in medieval times, it was lord and it was lady.
Maybe it's sir, first sir. I don't know.
Yo, man, this is so
People
funny.
say
I want to
ladies
know.
and gentlemen, so I think that's why they went with first gentleman, but it still doesn't sound right.
Oh, wow. I never thought about that. That's
Yeah, then when you think about it even more in depth, it's like if
First
the
man.
person who doesn't identify as any gender, then they just what?
the first.
Right now, maybe we could just change it from now on. It's just first person or second person.
That'd be hard. First spouse,
First man.
first
Spouse,
significant
that's a good
other,
one, first spouse.
first love. No. That's so funny. Okay, so right now I want y'all to use y'all's imagination. I want y'all to, what do you think the best thing, not necessarily that Joe Biden or, whoever else will be the president after him could do, just what do you think would save this country straight up? Well, if you guys need time to think, I can tell you mine. I think if we completely rewrote the Constitution and where it can speak for more than just who was considered a citizen or free at the time it was written, to where it can include everybody, that probably would save this country. That's my thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I feel like the idea that the whole basis of our country and the rights that we have is based off a document that was written by a bunch of white men who literally owned other people is not the best standard for government, especially since we can tell that by the state of our country right now. I mean, people often bring up the Second Amendment as a really good example about how times change, because the Second Amendment was written in a time when there weren't huge semi-automatic and automatic guns that you could just carry into
fact.
public spaces
You just
and
buy at
murder.
Walmart.
Yeah,
Like, bro.
Exactly.
By
And
the
then-
toys.
And then the fact that written into our Constitution was that black people are 3/5 of a person. And yeah, that's been changed now, but that's always a part of the basis of our country. And you can't just reform it out, because our country is always going to reflect what it was made on. Our country was built off of slavery, off of sexism, off of pretty much any amount of nativism and bigotry and xenophobia you can think of. And that doesn't just go away by reform. It goes away by rebuilding it. You can't with our country would not work without those things continuing to influence the way our government and our society functions. And so, in order to get rid of the bigotry and the xenophobia that exists in our country, we have to get rid of the foundation that created it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was about to, I strongly agree. I was just like, scrap
Y'all
it.
can't keep stealing my answers, man.
I
Nah.
was gonna say scrap it, throw it away, and try again. Because
Don't even recycle it.
like you said, I feel like it's harder to reform things out than to just start from square one and be like, look, I feel like it's like, dang, we gotta give these people rights now. Dang, I was owning them and now I gotta, it's like we're a second thought. So I'm like, because people like me, the Constitution wasn't written for people like me. It was written for white people in America, more like generally white males.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by white males for white males. So I'm like, we need to have some people who can have experienced these things say, look, this is what, from my experience, needs to change. Because we can have a whole bunch of white men rewrite the system, but they still will never understand or never know what exactly needs to be changed until they see someone who experienced it, or they just have that person who's experienced that thing say flat out, this is what needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I like watching the musical Hamilton. That put a lot of stuff into perspective for me. It was you're building a whole country, but you're building a country based on the backs of other people that we just don't talk about or care about. And I feel like that's one of the biggest issues now, that people are still have that mindset that they had back then, that these people are less than me. But it says all men are created equal. What men are we talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like people have turned the Constitution into this like guideline of morality, like they've done with the Bible. And if it's not promised by the Constitution, then it must be inherently immoral. So like people try to argue that like, oh, the Supreme Court might overturn Obamacare and free healthcare for all, or Medicare for all, and it might overturn gay marriage, it might overturn abortion, it might overturn all these landmark Supreme Court cases that gave people rights. And if the Supreme Court rules that Medicare for all is unconstitutional, then that doesn't mean Medicare for all is bad, but rather that the Constitution itself is bad. Because Medicare for all should be a right that everyone's guaranteed. Same with the right to marriage and to be in relationship with the people you choose. Same for women to have access to abortion. So if we are taking those rights away from people because of what the Constitution says, then it's the Constitution that's the problem and not giving people those rights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and really quickly, I mean, I do have my own answer to this question, but I want to comment quickly on this. I mean, one thing that's in the Constitution that I also don't quite agree with is the Electoral College. Now, the Constitution was initially written because actually the Founding Fathers didn't really trust the mass judgment of the people, which is one reason they put in the Electoral College in the first place. I feel like everyone should have an equal vote and equal voice. It should be based off of the popular vote, not off of electors that we don't even know who they are every 4 years. But yeah, I think definitely if we're rewriting the Constitution, that's one thing we should reconsider.
And you said you had another answer?
Yeah.
Or was that the answer?
So I have like you said, rewrite the Constitution. Another thing that I think would really kind of help the country is get rid of the two-party system we have in this country. Like, right now we have Democrats and Republicans. We do have third parties, but like, I'm sure when we were watching election coverage, we weren't even talking about them. So I just think the two-party system creates such a polarized country. Like, people are forced to identify with, okay, are you a Democrat or Republican? Mm-hmm. When people say they're independent, then people are like, well, do you lean Democrat or Republican? It's kind of saying, okay, you either have one set of beliefs or you have another set of beliefs. And I think it also, like in our government, it forces people who may be moderates to run on a more extreme platform to be accepted by their party. Like, I feel like moderate politicians have a very narrow space to fit in to our government, because if they're not extreme enough, some Democrats or Republicans might not vote for them. But also, if you're not extreme enough on the other end, you won't get those votes either. So I think definitely having more parties than just this two-party system we have going on here, I think would definitely help, I think.
I feel it. Also, just to make Trump mad, we should change the name of America to something that wouldn't ring so well, like Make America Great Again. If we change it to a weird name and it can't fit on the hat, I think that would be fire.
We should change it to Obama. That way Trump's slogan has to be "Make Obama Great Again."
Hey, that's a good idea. Or make anyone except
Personally,
Trump
I don't
great.
think America was ever great, but you know.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm not arguing with that. I was just definitely trying to make fun of Donald Trump. That's just my whole reason for being here. What about you, Tufo, not Yusuf?
Yeah. Wait. Oh yeah. We gotta press the reboot button on America. And
Short and sweet.
yeah.
That was good. Well, this is your applause, everyone. As I promised. But this is not the end of the podcast. I had something else in mind when you were talking, Nana, but I forgot it. But just to bring up Hamilton, I bought Disney Plus to watch that, but I've been scared to watch Hamilton.
What?
I don't know why.
No, you gotta watch it.
Like, I haven't watched it yet. I've had Disney Plus for like 4 months.
The best part of Hamilton is that it's a bunch of like originally racist white people being played by like black people. I think the only person in the cast who's not a person of color is King George from England, which it's kind of really funny because like half of these people would be rolling over in their grave to know that a black person was representing them or like a woman of color was representing them or anything like that. And I think that's really good because it kind of shows, one, the diversity of our country now, that you can make an entire really successful play with a bunch of people of color, and that also there was our whole country's foundation is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also rewrites what we can do, because usually when you think of people of color playing a role from back then, you often think they're going to be playing like a slave or something. And you'll never see them as the lead roles. They're always in the background to the people who get these parts because that person in real life was white and they won't have to be played by a white person. But like, who said that? So I think when Lin-Manuel Miranda, he made Hamilton, he was like, look, I'm gonna do it my way. And I think he describes it as America told by the people of today, like the story of those people told by the people of today. And the people of today are a lot more diverse, and it's a lot more people who are able to do these roles or pursue this type of career. And I think he did a really good job of like demonstrating that.
Okay. Well, hey, look, y'all might have convinced me to start watching it next month. No, I'll stop. Nah. So every election, I feel like there are people who are irresponsible, right? And I saw that people voted for Kanye West because he said that he was gonna run, even though he actually couldn't. But people still actually like wrote Kanye West on the thing. Like last time, it was Harambe.
Why can't he run?
It was too late. And even if he was, he ain't got no. Well, Donald Trump didn't have no experience either. Dang. And I feel like more people like Kanye West than Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like Kanye West would 100% be a better candidate than Donald Trump. I'm not sure how, but I feel like it's...
That's funny.
Also knowing that, first of all, he came into this election late. That should tell you one thing, like, you want this man who decided one day, I'm going to be part of the election.
Right.
I don't care
randomly.
how far along it is. And then says they're joining it and then drops out. And people are like, still think, what morals does he have? Like, why would you vote for him? Like, what does he contribute to, what is he going to contribute to people?
These people just think they're funny. That's
Yeah.
why they did it. People didn't write in Harambe's name because they thought Harambe would make a good president.
Fact.
They did it because they have a lot of privilege and nothing that happens in the president election generally affects them. So they thought, I'm going to make this a joke instead of something that actually determines the future of hundreds and millions of people in this country.
See Kanye West? No, stop. Look what you did on Twitter.
I will say he is a musical genius, though. He can stick
I will
to that.
I will give him that. What was you about to say,
I
Tufo?
said, might as well have some fun.
Who?
America.
Look, man, you sound like Michael Shea. For y'all who don't know who Michael Shea is, he's a comedian. And he was talking about, he has a stand-up special called Michael Shea Matters. And he was talking about Donald Trump. And he said Donald Trump is like a piece of trash that would be cool at a party, like a party animal, but definitely not president. He said, but maybe in about, I don't know, he said like 8 years or something, America's going good, we give it to him and see how it works out. That's what you sound like right now. Have some fun. No, this is not the time, this is not the place. Sir, leave. No? You- okay, well, I thought that was gonna get a little laugh from someone out here. I got you, Noah. Let me help you out.
Bro.
Nah,
you
bro,
can't,
look,
you can't
look.
put the laugh on there, bro. You got
Hey, man,
no
look, let me
laughs.
tell you something.
No laughs.
Sir, leave. Okay, that's a generic white people laugh.
White
Yeah,
people
I was gonna
laugh.
say, I was like,
about
that
to say,
seems
you
so-
got
That's
white
generic
people
white
laugh.
people laugh.
Was it really funny? I'm like, that wasn't a good laugh.
Yeah, they was laughing at you.
I ain't even got no comebacks, no rebuttals, nothing. What you got, Rashad? Hit him with something.
I don't have nothing.
You lost. L.
All right, I lost. I'm Donald Trump right now. There we go. See? Y'all see what we talking about. That was pretty much all I had to discuss. I'm looking at my points right here. You actually covered all of them when you were answering my questions. I don't know if you, like I had other ones that y'all covered answering other questions. Did anyone have any closing remarks, things they'd like to say?
Pray for America.
You said pray for America?
Yeah. It's gonna be a rocky road.
Oh, I got something.
ahead.
One thing that always bothers me though is like America sucks and it's pretty terrible for a lot of people. But then countries like Canada or like England try to pretend that their country is like perfect and unproblematic. Like England isn't the like queen of colonialism, or like Canada doesn't consistently oppress their like Native American like indigenous people there. And I think a lot of people spend like a lot of time making fun of America, that they kind of ignore the reform that needs to happen in other countries too. Like just because America is a hellhole doesn't mean that everyone else is off the hook. And like, yeah, Canada has Medicare for all, but they also elected Justin Trudeau, who has done a ton of blackface. And like, yeah, England, I guess they don't arm their police officers, but other than that, England is pretty terrible. Like England's not much better than America. And so I think that when we're focusing on reforming America, we need to also not let other people pretend their countries aren't just, I guess not just, but aren't as problematic in certain areas. Like America's definitely kind of the picturesque of politics falling apart, your government system is falling apart, you made a crappy decision 300 years ago and now it's like hitting you in the face. But all these other countries, like a lot of countries that are struggling right now are struggling as a result of Western imperialism. And like there's a lot of like France. France is a really terrible place. Like there is so much xenophobia in France. Like there was just 2 Muslim women who got like beheaded in France.
In France?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Europe-
it like, what, 2 years ago where everybody was praying for France?
Oh yeah.
That's
Was that
because
2 years
France.
ago?
That's
no, I
because
feel like
France.
that, I think it was like around the Trump.
Yeah, that's
Trump was
because-
getting rid of that stuff.
Okay. I
That's
don't
because
know.
France is a white country. So like when something bad happens in white countries, everyone's like, oh, let's donate millions and billions of dollars so that they can rebuild this really old cathedral that no one actually cares that much about. But then there are people like starving all over the world, being massacred,
Whoa.
like in genocide and like
I didn't know you
Myanmar, and
had
people
it.
just ignore it.
I didn't even hear
I
about
didn't know
any beheading.
beheading people was still a thing that people did. That's,
There's like in Burma and I don't know if I'm saying the country right, but Myanmar or something. There's like
Myanmar, yeah.
legitimate genocide happening to people who are being like forced into the. I think they're being forced into Burma from Myanmar.
Myanmar, you
Yeah, yeah.
You got it.
And they're being like murdered, raped, killed, like very reminiscent of like the Holocaust kind of genocide. And it's not getting a lot of attention because it's a third world country and it's a
Right.
bunch of brown people. And the same thing happening with the Muslim concentration camps in China. Like people are like, oh, look at what's happening in China, and then they like ignore it. And there's so much atrocity happening in the rest of the world, but people, it's like performative activism. Like a lot of people only point out problems just for just so people think that they're like morally righteous, but then they don't actually try to do anything to help other people. They just want to look like a good person.
Right. Dang. That's still crazy about France, though.
They told Trump Biden.
Ah, Biden. I'm just acting like I didn't get it for the people who watch and who listen.
Put the laugh thing. You know.
Put the laugh thing, the generic white people laughing?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Which one was it? All right, say it again.
They
I'm just
told-
playing, I ain't doing it. I ain't have no rebuttals for you earlier. You was coming at me reckless, and you won, and now you gonna ask me for a favor?
Hey, he just Saudi. It's cool.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I do not remember. Well, that's it, I guess. Any other closing remarks? Crickets.
That's trash.
That's crickets. That's what I'm
No,
listening.
I don't know what crickets those are.
Yeah, those are,
What?
they're really high-pitched crickets.
That ain't cricket, man.
Okay, these crickets ain't grown yet, so they ain't hit puberty. They
That sound like
voice is still
mice.
mice.
Yeah.
I gotta hear it again. Mice.
Or like birds.
Yes, birds.
Oh, I can hear birds.
It sound like your hair.
And with that, I want to thank y'all for coming out, which I already did. Please be safe when you leave. Stay corona free. Don't slip on a banana peel except you.
Don't
And
get shot by Trump
have a good
supporters.
evening. You said what?
Don't get shot by Trump supporters.
Oh, fact. Don't get shot by Trump supporters either.
Oh wow.
Or just don't get shot in general.
Yeah.
I think that works too. And bye. This is Noah Halls from Elements. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast. Elements is a youth center downtown Cincinnati centered around hip hop and community. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you want to get more involved, you can come down to our center located at 1640 Race Street. This video was brought to you by Democracy and Me, Elements, the Kennedy Heights Art Center, and Tellus Zine. Tellus Zine is a digital publication led by an all-youth editorial board, showcasing visual, art, and creative writing by young adults from across greater Cincinnati. Tellus's mission is to provide a platform for young people to express themselves bravely and creatively as a part of our diverse community. Tellus Zine is sponsored by the Kennedy Heights Art Center with support from the Charles H. Dater Foundation and ArtsWave.